This application is POS Cloud version 12. This application is being designed exclusively for the cloud for a POS application that had this set of requirements: that the application was able to run multiple stores with a POS system on the cloud, where the stores themselves could access the information from the customers, sales, inventory, purchasing, and vendor files. The additional buttons below this are subscreens for these main screens. The application itself has custom reports that each store can access their information based on the store ID, which is store 1 through 6. You could have more added to this if it was required to have additional stores with custom reports. We will be covering these in depth. There is videos for each one of the individual buttons, and then one that covers all the store running the reports. So we'll be covering those in the next part of these videos that are attached on each side of the buttons. In this particular screen, which is the main menu, there is a description of some of the things that are the responsibilities of this application and what it's supposed to do, and how to use the application as far as some of the basic criteria. We will be covering the detailed criteria for each screen in the individual screens down to the field level. The support screen will have the information about this particular release for this application and some additional information. Now, to start off the application, you have to have inventory before you can have anything in sales, and the customers have to be present in order to be able to have sales. The purchasing part of the application only can have items that it purchases once you have the inventory. So the starting point when you use this application is to add your inventory first. Once you have your inventory, you can update on a periodic basis as you require to add new items. You also need some vendors to supply the supplies that you're going to use for purchasing, so you need to identify your vendors and add those to the vendor screen. In this application from the main menu, as you can see, there are screens. There are certain things called UDFs. There are two of them. There's one in the customer screen, and there's another one in the inventory screen for UDFs. These are user-defined fields where if there's applications that you need fields for example, in customers, you may want to do some additional information about the customer as far as their buying habits or whatever. The UDF in that screen is used to track those items with a title and an input field. The same thing in the inventory. There you'll see things that are saying portal screens. Portal screens are actually portals with multiple line rows where you can add records on each row, and they usually are an offshoot of the individual main screens where you can have multiple portals for one main screen or a parent screen. In the vernacular of a relational database, there are parent screens like the ones across the top, and then there are child screens that are used in conjunction with the parent screen. In this particular application, you'll find that what we've done is that each store has an ID with the name, store, and the number. So in each record, you're tagging either the customer to a record, or in the case of a customer for sales, you would have the customer in the sales part. But in the inventory and purchase, you're going to be tagging those records for the individual stores. Now, if you're selling something, also the store will be tagged in along with the customer ID. When I say tag, that's a drop-down field where you actually select a customer and you also actually select the store for that particular sale, so that you know who and what was purchased at what store and who the customer was that purchased those items. In the inventory, you will tag the inventory by each individual store, and there's a suffix on the end of each product item that just denotes by S and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for those stores by their numbers. And you would assign that when you're doing an inventory item. So for a single inventory item, if it's used across all the stores, there will actually be 6 versions of that same part, where when it's used in an invoice or in a purchase, that you will tag it on the store so that you'll know where that particular item was sold or where the item was purchased for that particular store. The purchase itself also uses the vendor as an ID of where it's purchased, and it also, like I just said, it also shows you the information as far as what store is actually making the purchase. Now, if you have questions about this information, it's going to be explained more in detail as we go through the actual application. So go to the next video, and I suggest what you do is go ahead and go through the whole customer thing, then the inventory, then the sales, and then the purchase. One of the things that's principal that you do in a purchase screen is once you have inventory in your database, what you're going to do is go back to the purchase screen and create one new inventory item based on a vendor called preliminary inventory. And what the preliminary inventory is you're going to go through and walk through all your store and create a purchase order with every line item for every item that you have in your store. So you have an initial inventory based on a purchase order, which will feed the quantities into the inventory and make them available to the sales, and thereby getting the customer information into the invoice for those items that they want to purchase. But you need to have the purchase order that starts out your inventory. As you buy more items and add them to the inventory, they will be updating the inventory, and you'll see where it automatically calculates your levels as you're using an invoice. It'll take the inventory out. It'll also show that you need more as far as when you need to get down to a low level to purchase more items. And we'll cover those in the different reports as we go through them. So this is an overview only for the basic main menu screen. When you complete the main menu screen, like I said, start on the customer next. Thank you.